We are going to do an assignment today on inequalities. But before I do this assignment on inequalities, I was asked a question about a homework problem. So first, we're going to go back and do a homework problem about assignment number 19, homework problem number 4. So this word right here is a key word. I'm going to make another line that is perpendicular to that line right there. Well, what is the slope of this line? -2. So what is my slope for my new line? If this is negative, this one is going to be positive. And then I need a reciprocal, but to the whole number. How do you go for a number? Well, that is equal to 1. 1. Reciprocal means you flip the fraction over. Find in intercept form. We have a point, we have a slope, we would start form. And when I do point slope form, I always start with the slope, because I know the slope, it's right there. Which one of those is an x number? And so x goes with x. The way this point slope formula, it has negative sign. I want you to get right on the lesson. This is a +3. This is a -3. If this is a +4, this is a -4. And what does this mean? What does it mean when I do? Distribute. And it's going to distribute and it's going to get really ugly. But I really don't have to figure this out. Because look at the answer choices. What slope am I looking for? +1/2. What's the only slope that has a +1/2 over there in my answer choices? I really don't have to figure anything out. It has that +1/2. Now, some of my students just wanted to know how to figure it out. And so if you did that, you would have to multiply a fraction times a whole number. To multiply a fraction times a whole number, you have to go back and multiply fractions. You have to multiply top times top and bottom times bottom. And so that would be a -3/2. And what do you do next if you were solving it for y? Do we know? And I need to combine like terms, and that means I need to combine a fraction with a whole number. Do you remember anything about adding fractions? Or subtracting fractions? To add or subtract, the denominator here? 2. So that means that I have to multiply this by 2/2 so that I can get a common denominator. When I have a common denominator, you add up the numerators at 8 plus a negative 3, and that was how you would get that part of the answer here. But once again, I could stop right here because that's the only one that has the right slope. And when you have parallel lines, same slope, those are two rules that you need to memorize. Today our lesson is inequalities are greater than or less than signs. Or we can have greater than, equal to, or less than or equal to. So we're all doing inequalities with word problems. And sometimes word problems have these words in them. Don't know where my screen went. So when we have at least, what does that mean? I can get these backwards if I don't stop and think about it. So at least, here's an example of legally. Least means greater than or equal to. I now can be to preschool at 3. So at most means that that's the most number and the rest of the numbers have to be smaller. I have to stop and think. No more than. You can make no more than 70 on a retest. You don't have a number left. You can has to be 70 or bigger to pass. So or makes it then maybe this will help you. We are going to be doing inequality from so make you a X and a Y on your paper. And so this is the 0.40, this is the 0.05 graph on paper. The equation that's going to represent this shaded in part of the graph. All of these points on the shaded in part of this graph. Well, we start with the line in y equals mx plus b form. If we're going to start with the line in y equals mx plus b form, we're going to need, when we have a graph, we count the slope by rise over run. So this goes up 5 and over 4. So is 4, 5 over 4? It's rise over run. That's why I always start with the bottom point and go up first. The rise is over the run. But this line is a negative line. Do you see it going down? And the y-intercept is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the equation, if it was an equation, would be y equals negative 5 over 4x. But you see, I didn't put the y. Not y greater than, less than sign to show. Now, here's the line, and it's line. It's shaped y is small. Y is less than. That shows shading. Now you see this is a dotted line. That change your, look up here. If this line had been a solid line instead of a dotted line, this would have an, that's the difference between a solid line and a dotted line. And if the shading had been on this side, that would be above the line, and this would be a greater than. The line, it's a greater than. If the line is dotted, it doesn't have an or equal to. If the line is solid, it does have an or equal to. So that's what those notes mean. Taking equations and matching them to the graph, taking graphs and matching them to the equation. We will also be writing inequalities. So this question says, which inequality does not contain all of the x, y pairs? That word not is a very important word. So the easiest way is just start looking at your answer choices one at a time. What is your first? X is 1, y is 3. X is 1, y is 3. If I plug them in, plus 3 greater than 1? Is 4, 1 plus 3 is 4? Is 4 greater than 1? Sure it is. And then I take my next answer choice and plug it in. Is 2 plus 1, 3 greater than 1? Sure it is. 3 plus 0 is 3. Is 3 greater than 1? Yes, it is. 5 plus a negative 1 is a 4. Is 4 greater than 1? If I graphed this line and shaded, all of these points would be in the shaded area. I did that for you. You don't have to write this down, but can you see my points over here? All of these points are in the shaded area. That's what it's telling me when I go through and do this. But we're looking for the one that is not the right one, the correct equation. See, this last one is less than 4. All of my y numbers, or all of my any are equal to 4. So this is a true mathematical sentence. This is a true mathematical sentence, and I'm looking for this not true because of that not word up there. So let me get some space to write. Let's go to answer choice B. 2x plus 5y is less than or equal to 10. My first x number is 1. My first y number is 3. My equation says 2 times x plus 5 times 3 is less than or equal to 10. 2 plus 15, is that less than or equal to 10? Is that true? And because of this word not right here, I am looking for the one that is not true. So what you're going to do is you're going to plug in your points into your inequalities and figure out, is it a true inequality or a false inequality? If you graph B, there's that point that I just plugged in. Is that point in the shaded area? And that's why it came out to be false, because it was not in the shaded area. Everybody's favorite kind of problem, a word problem. And so we're going to have to write this word problem down, so let me shorten it a little bit for you. Write and solve an inequality for the situation. Layla wants to buy season passes for her family, and so this much right here is what you need to write down. Not necessarily the whole thing, but that sentence right there, because that's going to give us our inequality. So every time she buys a child's ticket, it's going to go up $10. She's going to have to multiply 10 tickets she buys. And what's an adult ticket? 20. So if she buys one adult ticket, $20, $3, 3 would be $60. Every time she buys an adult ticket, it's going to cost her $20 for every adult ticket she's going to buy. Can she spend $100 on these tickets? No. So these represent the money tickets, and that has to be less than or equal to, where'd it go? That has to be less than or equal to the 70, because that's all the money she's got. So look at the word problem, at the inequality. Let's do one more graphing type problem. So if I'm going to do a graphing type problem, I'm going to need a graph. If I'm graphing this, I'm going to start out at the -3 axis. And I'm going to count of 1/2. 1, 2, up 1, over 2, up 1, over 2. Now, do you see an or equal to here? Here? Is there? So, when I connect these dots, I'm going to connect them with a dotted line because this doesn't say or equal to. Less than points to the left, this points to the right, so this is a greater than sign. And what letter is right here? On the y-axis, where is it greater? At the top or at the bottom? At the top. So this part right here is what gets shaded. I usually do that with a highlighter. On your answer problems, you will be matching. You'll have some multiple choice graphs, and you will match which one with it. Now, what that means is any point over here in this shaded in area, if I plug in every single point, shaded part is a true answer. How many points are there in this shaded part? Infinite. There's a point here and here and here and here and here and here and here, and I could keep going on here and here and here. Infinite. And so these are the kind of problems you are going to do on assignment